What if I told you this entire model works even when you're not actively working on it? What if I told you there's a way to create monetizable YouTube content while you sleep? Using nothing but free AI tools and a system that takes most creators years to figure out? In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the exact workflow that's allowing ordinary people to build faceless YouTube empires, generating consistent revenue streams without ever showing their face or spending a dime on expensive software. This isn't another get-rich-quick scheme or viral hack that dies in a week. This is a legitimate business model that's working right now in 2026. And I'm about to break down every single step. Here's the part most people don't realize yet. YouTube doesn't reward effort, creativity, or even talent. It rewards systems that produce watch time consistently. And once you understand that, everything you thought you needed to succeed suddenly becomes optional. Here's what's really happening in the creator economy that most people are missing. While everyone's chasing viral moments and trendy dances, smart creators are building systematic, faceless channels that pump out valuable content consistently. They're not hoping for lightning to strike twice. They're creating their own lightning factory. And the secret weapon they're using? NotebookLM combined with a workflow so elegant, it practically runs itself. This is the exact same shift that happened in dropshipping, SaaS, and paid newsletters. The winners weren't more creative, they were more repeatable. And YouTube is no different. Now here's where this starts to feel almost unfair. I've been testing this system for months and the results are frankly ridiculous. We're talking about going from idea to published video in under 2 hours, with content quality that rivals channels with massive production budgets. But here's the kicker. Everything I'm about to show you is completely free. No monthly subscriptions, no expensive software licenses, no hiring teams of editors and researchers. Speed is the unlock here. When content becomes fast, consistency becomes inevitable. And consistency is the single biggest predictor of YouTube growth. Not luck, not charisma, not even thumbnails. The breakthrough moment came when I realized that most creators are approaching content creation completely backwards. They're starting with what they want to say instead of starting with what their audience desperately needs to hear. They're creating content and then hoping it finds an audience instead of finding an audience and then creating exactly what they're craving. This is why so many channels stall. The creator is talking, but nobody asks the question. When your video continues a thought the viewer already has, retention becomes effortless. NotebookLM changes this entire game because it doesn't just generate content. It generates insights. It becomes your research assistant, your script consultant, and your content strategist all rolled into one. But here's where most people mess up. They treat it like a magic content button, instead of understanding how to feed it the right inputs to get extraordinary outputs. This is the exact workflow. No theory, no fluff, just execution. First, research automation. This is where most creators burn out because they're manually scouring the internet for hours, trying to piece together compelling narratives from scattered sources. The smart approach is to become a research conductor rather than a research grunt. Here's exactly what this looks like in practice. Let's say your niche is AI finance or passive income. You open YouTube search and type a core phrase. Then you let autocomplete finish the questions people are already asking. Those suggestions are demand, not guesses. Start by identifying your niche's pain points and curiosities. Don't guess. Use tools like Answer the Public, Reddit, and YouTube's own search suggestions to discover what questions people are actually asking. But here's the advanced move. Instead of researching one topic at a time, batch your research sessions. Spend one focused hour gathering source materials for 10 different videos. Now you collect sources, articles, blog posts, PDFs, even video transcripts, and drop all of them into NotebookLM. 5 to 7 sources per topic is the sweet spot. This is important. One source gives opinions. Multiple sources reveal patterns. Once you have your research materials, this is where NotebookLM becomes your secret weapon. Upload your sources, whether they're articles, PDFs, research papers, or even transcripts from other videos in your niche. The key is diversity. Don't just upload one source and expect magic. Upload 5 to 7 different perspectives on your topic. Now comes the critical part that separates amateur creators from professional ones. You're not asking NotebookLM to write your script. You're asking it to become your intelligent research assistant. Ask it to identify the most surprising insights across all your sources. Ask it to find the common misconceptions people have about your topic. Ask it to highlight the gaps between what experts know and what the general public believes. This is where winning video ideas are born. Every high-performing faceless video lives inside that gap, between what people think is true and what actually is. At this point, everything starts to click. The scripting process is where this system really shines. Instead of starting with a blank page and hoping inspiration strikes, you're starting with rich, researched insights that practically beg to become compelling content. But there's a specific structure that makes the difference between content that gets watched and content that gets binged. Your hook needs to create what I call intellectual curiosity debt. You're making a promise that you're going to reveal something genuinely useful, but you're not giving it away in the first 30 seconds. You're creating a knowledge gap that only gets filled by watching the entire video. If the viewer feels complete, they leave. If they feel curious, they stay. That's the psychology every faceless channel quietly exploits. The body of your content should follow what successful faceless channels have mastered: the value sandwich technique. You deliver immediate value, then build tension around a bigger revelation, then deliver more immediate value, then build toward your ultimate payoff. This creates multiple retention spikes throughout your video instead of one big revelation that allows viewers to click away satisfied. Here's where most creators go wrong with faceless content. They think faceless means emotionless. The most successful faceless channels understand that they're not hiding behind anonymity. They're amplifying their ideas without the distraction of personality. Your voice becomes the vehicle for transformation, not entertainment. Here's where this stops being content and starts becoming leverage. The editing process is where this workflow becomes truly scalable. Since you're working with a consistent structure and research-backed insights, your editing becomes systematic rather than artistic. You're not spending hours crafting the perfect transition. You're following a proven template that works every single time. For visuals, the secret isn't expensive stock footage or complex animations. The secret is relevance and pacing. Every visual element should either reinforce your point or move your narrative forward. Think of your visuals as slides in a presentation, not decoration on a cake. The monetization angle is crucial because this isn't about building a hobby channel. This is about building a business asset. Faceless channels have unique advantages in monetization because they're not dependent on personal brand or individual charisma. They can cover multiple topics within a niche, they can operate in evergreen content areas, and they can scale beyond what any individual creator could achieve alone. This is also where optional tools come in, things like Canva or Scribble, not to upgrade quality, but to remove friction. When execution becomes easy, output increases, and output is what compounds. This is where a lot of people quietly doubt themselves. So let's address it. You don't need experience. You don't need a following. You don't need confidence on camera. What you need is the willingness to follow a repeatable process long enough for it to compound. The scalability comes from systems thinking rather than content thinking. Once you have this workflow dialed in, you're not creating videos, you're operating a content production system. You can batch research, batch scripting, batch recording, and batch editing. What used to take days now takes hours. And once speed is solved, fear disappears. You stop asking, will this work? And start asking, how fast can I test the next one? This is why this works even when trends change. The audience development happens naturally when you're consistently delivering valuable insights on topics people care about. But the magic happens when you start connecting those insights across multiple videos, creating what behavioral psychologists call commitment and consistency bias. Viewers start seeing you as their go-to resource for understanding complex topics. This workflow is particularly powerful because it leverages artificial intelligence not to replace human creativity, but to amplify human insight. You're using AI to process information faster and identify patterns more efficiently, but the strategic thinking, the angle selection, and the value creation, that's still entirely human. The financial potential is significant because you're building multiple revenue streams simultaneously. Ad revenue from consistent viewership, affiliate opportunities from product recommendations, potential sponsorships from companies targeting your audience, and even your own product sales if you choose to go that route. What makes this sustainable in 2026 and beyond is that you're building on foundational principles rather than temporary tactics. You're creating genuine value, building real authority, and serving actual audience needs. These elements don't become obsolete when the algorithm changes or when new platforms emerge. The competitive advantage comes from execution excellence rather than secret information. Everyone has access to the same tools, but very few people will implement this systematically and consistently. This represents more than just a content creation method. It's a complete approach to building a scalable, profitable online business, using tools that are available to anyone willing to think systematically and execute consistently. The future belongs to creators who understand that content creation is really business creation, and that artificial intelligence isn't replacing human creativity. It's amplifying human potential for those smart enough to harness it systematically. If this helped you rethink how YouTube actually works, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and in the next video, I'll show you how to create unlimited AI-powered finance videos in bulk using only free tools. See you there!